Hey, hey, Ideal Protein Nation around worldwide. You didn't think you'd see me this quick, did you? So I realized last week that if I was going to do the show on the every 2 week schedule, that would be Thanksgiving Day. I think my wife probably wouldn't enjoy me broadcasting from the Thanksgiving Day table. So I decided to do the first annual Thanksgiving show. Oh, you got to watch out for those turkeys. Wait a second. Wait, calm down. It's not Thanksgiving yet. Hang in there. So I decided that we would do the first annual Thanksgiving show this week. And our guest today, I've been wanting to have her on the show anyway, but this was the perfect opportunity. I hope that today's show, that you get so much of Sara, everything that you should get from her, because she is an absolutely amazing person. Amazing story and an amazing part of Ideal Protein. So, and she's got amazing recipes. So let's move on with this. What is the Life Possible podcast? There's going to be a lot of people evidently tuning in for the first time. The buzz on Facebook for this show there's never been this much pre-show buzz than when I sent Sara's stuff out. And I know a lot of the people were saying, what's the show? Where can I find it? So the Life Possible podcast spotlights successful coaches, clients, and clinic owners who have used the Ideal Protein protocol to literally transform their life. These people have changed their life so much that now they're pursuing goals and dreams that they never thought they could. They're pursuing goals and dreams that they never even knew they wanted to. In short, these people are living lives that are so wonderful that they can't imagine going back to the way that life was before. They're living lives that are so awesome that they don't feel like they need to escape from them. So, who am I and why am I doing this? Well, my name is Dr. John Barnes, and contrary to popular belief on the Phase 1 supporters group, I am a clinic owner and I am a coach. And so 5 years ago, I found myself in that first picture. There's no two ways to put this. There's no good way to put this. I was fat, sick, and depressed. And I got to tell you, I truly didn't see a way out of it. And then along came the Ideal Protein program. And as I like to say, it certainly was the answer to many of my prayers, both personally and professionally. Came to me by way of a client. And so I did the Ideal Protein program and lost 45 pounds right out of the gate. It transformed me. We became a clinic. And since then, I have been so fascinated by this protocol that I've dedicated my life to the thorough understanding and preaching the word of the power of this protocol to transform your life from the inside out. The power of this protocol is more what it does for us on the inside than really what it does for us on the outside. Now I'm living a life that I feel I've never felt this healthy, vibrant, or alive. I've returned to the sport of triathlon after 25 years of inactivity. I've lost over 60 pounds total doing this protocol. And the more people that I feel like I can help with this by getting the word out, the better. Enough about me. Let's move on to our featured guest. Our featured guest today is none other than the incomparable Sara Mulero. Sara herself has been a successful client first. I love these stories. It's usually client first. Then she became a coach. She's worked her way up. She is now a CEM, or what's known as a clinic engagement manager, where she's responsible for a territory of clinics to support and really help them help their dieters as best possible. She was a successful dieter first. She lost over 340 pounds doing the program. And this was back between the years of 2012 to 2014. Through her own journey, she also has an affinity for cooking and just a gift. And so she made Thanksgiving recipes for herself when she was going through phase 1, and they've become such a hit. We wanted to go ahead and bring those to you. Right now, as a clinic engagement manager, she travels to her clinics and actually does cooking demonstrations with these recipes. And, I hope to do this every single year. We'll do the show. Maybe we'll get her cooking on air. But let's, without further ado, let us bring in Sara Mulero. Hey!
Hey!
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm hanging in there, man. This has been an incredible Ideal Protein week or a couple,
For sure.
right? We've been so excited about all the different things going on, and I'm so happy that you said yes to do this program because I know how hard you've been working. So let's bring the Thanksgiving episode to Ideal Protein Nation, right? Oh man, Lynn, can you take care of those turkeys? Don't let them back in here. Oh, all right.
Oh goodness.
But I want to start off first. It's not just about the Thanksgiving, this show. I want to start off with your story. Your story is so incredible, and so many people will connect and learn from your wisdom that you're going to talk about today. Take us back pre-Ideal Protein. What was your life like?
Well, I'm just a regular old Midwestern girl from a little place in Missouri. Grew up on a farm.
And actually, I forgot to tell everybody that you're coming live from Arkansas today, right?
Yes.
So a state that we have yet to go to. I'm so excited about that. We can add that to our list. But your CEM territory, the states that you're responsible for, what states do those include?
So I have a little bit of a list. Let me take a breath. No.
Right.
I have Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, and a little sliver of Texas. So Amarillo, Texarkana, anything that touches Oklahoma or Arkansas is mine.
Wow. That is a lot of square mileage, right?
But I love it. So I wouldn't change anything for the world.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Grew up where?
I grew up in a little town called Salem, Missouri. Woohoo, putting it on the map. Not that anyone's probably ever heard of it, but I am your basic, I think, stereotypical Midwesterner. I grew up big. I weighed 10 pounds when I was born. My poor mom gained over 100 pounds with me. I was her first pregnancy. I was the biggest girl in kindergarten, the biggest girl in third grade, the biggest girl in sixth grade, and didn't stop from there. I grew and grew and grew. And by the time I was really my prom day, and one of my pictures in my video, My Amazing Transformation, when I graduated high school, I was close to 300 pounds. And by the time that I was done with college, I probably was rounding 400 pounds at that point. Then, I'll get into relationships and you get what I call fat and sassy. And I gained a good 60 pounds. And so in the green shirt, I literally load this picture, but it is the day that I learned about Ideal Protein. Literally right after this was taken, I was taught about Ideal Protein and I was at 460 pounds in that picture.
Yeah. Wow.
The thing that I can tell you that I remember thinking about your intro, Dr. Barnes, is I was so out of breath sitting in that chair, just sitting there, this heavy breathing to get to the chair. And those are the little things that you forget about until you really stop and think. And tired all the time, fatigued, all those things.
Yep.
I have to give my father credit for the picture next to it, the after picture. He was
love this.
Proud of himself. I grew up on an Angus farm in mid-Missouri, and my dad had the epiphany coming back from St. Louis from a doctor's appointment that he was going to put feed bags together to replicate how much weight I had lost. And so for anybody who's a farmer on here, range cube bags came in 25 pounds. So my dad was like collecting things and realized I don't have enough pounds. So he got a sweet feed, he got a salt block, he got milk replacement, and he was so proud of himself for this picture.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely only in the Midwest, right?
Yes.
I absolutely love that. And, from time to time, we'll tell our patients, hey, if you ever want to kind of revisit those days, why don't you fill a backpack, with the weight that you lost and try and remember what that was like. We'd have to put that on a sled and you'd have to pull that behind you. I don't think you could do that exercise. And that's what makes that just so amazing.
It was mind blowing to me because, with going through this, you tell people, oh, I've lost 5 pounds, I've lost whatever. But seeing it all together, I thought, how did my 5'1" body ever carry all of this weight?
Right.
And it's mind blowing because I couldn't lift all of that, yet I had been lifting it all of my life.
Yeah, no, seriously, walking, going up and down stairs. You name it, even just sitting there. Right. So amazing. And I don't know, I've had people say they don't think that's you in that first picture. So we may have to have, if anybody can vouch, if you knew Sara back when, I want you to come out and say, hey, I knew Sara. Just literally, like I said, on that that preview post that I put out there yesterday, someone was just like, she truly looks like two totally different people. And, again, I can't imagine that you were this sassy now that I know you back then. But if we could get confirmation on that too, I would appreciate anybody that knew Sara. Was she really this sassy back then, or has this developed?
No. And it's funny that people think that I don't look the same. And I didn't even tell Dr. Barnes this. My dad didn't even actually recognize me when I first came home after losing I think I was down 160 pounds. And my dad literally walked past me going into a hotel.
Oh my God. Oh
and
my God.
it was when he saw me and I said, Dad, it's me, Sara. He literally dropped to his knees in tears. He could not.
Oh my God.
He did not recognize me. So it's no one really could have anticipated the change, not even myself. We don't know what we're doing when we get into this.
Right.
We hope for the best, right? That's what we all do when we start Idle Protein.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. That I can't even imagine that scene, and especially being a father, right? I mean, how does that make you feel about your daughter that he had to have worried about?
I'm sure there was a level of worry there, but being from the Midwest, it's kind of like almost the normal, like, this is what happens as you age and those things. And this is just what happens to you. And we have to be our own advocate and break the cycle.
Yep.
I've shared with a lot of people in my area as I go through this. I didn't always share with my circle of influence of people that I was doing what I was doing. I've always been a dieter. Like most women, we start fad dieting at about age 10. Yep. And I told my family I was on a diet, which was probably the wrong wording whenever I started. But I didn't know what I was getting into. And so they just thought, okay, she'll be done with this by Tuesday, whatever, because that's what a diet is. So as I went through and I would tell my mom and my dad, as I would call them, I said, oh yeah, last month I lost 10 pounds or last month I lost 15 pounds or whatever it was. They're not seeing me for 8 months. And then I go home for Thanksgiving. And that's when my dad saw the current.
Oh my God.
And thought, oh my God. Well, as my sisters, I have 3 sisters. They saw it. They've always done things that I've done. I'm big sis. That's pretty normal, right? And so it became generational health. After the girls saw that I was doing it and doing it well and it was working, they all decided to get started. And so I have 3 sisters that have all lost close to 100 pounds on protocol as well. One of them moonlights as a backup coach in Missouri. The other one is a coach in Oklahoma. And hopefully my other sister will be a coach in our hometown if we get to get a clinic there. So it's really been generational health and really changing the lifestyle. That's really how this whole Thanksgiving Day Idle Protein Phase 1 came about. Was in that journey, they realized that I'm the cook in the family and I'm not going to cook them regular food if I can't eat it.
Right. That's great.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, I didn't know that too. I think this is kind of the value of, we had some prep time together, but we didn't have a whole lot. So I think this is great because I get to hear this stuff for the first time too. Absolutely amazing story. I love that your whole family is involved like that. So tell me, how did you actually find out about Ideal Protein?
Well, oddly enough, I'm kind of a status quo patient. I found out from my doctor. I was on a journey to try to get healthy, try to get a diagnosis for something that I had felt sick with all of my life. And he finally diagnosed me with PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome. I'd never had a diagnosis for it. And he said the best way to manage it is to lose weight. And you need to lose about 150 pounds before you're going to see any change. And I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's crazy. And I thought in that moment he was going to refer me to the weight loss program they had in office. And I was kind of thrown off whenever he gave me a card to a bariatric surgeon.
Time out. So this doctor that you were going to had a weight loss system in place in his office.
He did. And I thought immediately, oh, he's just trying to make money off me like every other person would in my position, right? But when he stood in front of me at the desk and he literally slid me a card, 2 cards. First one was a bariatric surgeon. The second was an idle protein clinic. And I thought, why is he not sending me to the person down the hall that I passed to get to his office? Right. And I didn't ask at that time. I mean, like most people, when a doctor tells you you need to lose 150 pounds, I was not in a really good headspace at that moment. Just so there's a lot
however, if it's coming from your doctor, right?
Right.
I mean, that is a place that is, again, it should be taken, and it is. Evidently, there are statistics out there. I just Nikki Johnson has sent me some great statistics on people really do listen if their doctor is the one that speaks up about this, right?
I valued his decision to talk to me about it and to be open, because no one had really ever done that before.
Right.
And even though I was mad, I'm not going to lie to anybody, I was like seeing red mad. And I think most people are there because you have to admit that you've done something wrong. And as a woman, that sucks.
But I'm sure that's the only thing you've ever done wrong. So it's okay.
Exactly. Right. So whatever. But I was so determined to help myself in this diagnosis I just received. I literally told him, I don't even want the card to the bariatric surgeon, because that's not the life I want to live. I've had tons of friends in the Midwest that do this. I actually lost 2 friends on the operating table during gastric bypass. I mean, because it can happen. And so I decided I was going to go, if I ate my way here, I was going to eat my way out of it. That was my mentality. And so I went straight and got started on idle protein literally 2 weeks before Christmas in 2012. It was probably the craziest thing I've ever done in my life.
I was gonna say, are you kidding me? Oh my God. Well, but again, right? We cannot let any detail of this story go by. You literally went straight from his office to the Ideal Protein Clinic to learn about it and to consider if you're going to get started, right?
Yeah.
That was the impact that it had on you when your physician said it. Might not have been the most comfortable thing. And most physicians, unfortunately, here's the other part I don't want to miss either. Most physicians don't want to bring up this conversation because they don't have an answer, right?
Right.
And in fact, it seems like he had an answer that he wasn't happy with.
Exactly.
And so not only did he have the conversation with you, but he knew that there was a much better option for you and prescribed Ideal Protein. I just think that that's absolutely amazing.
Well, I had ongoing treatments with him in the next 6 months. And as I got more comfortable with him and his bedside manner improved because I was doing what I needed to do, we actually became very close. Like he gave me his cell number and would text me and see how I was doing on my journey. And finally, I had to have a biopsy done. And I asked him, I said, hey, before you sedate me for this biopsy, why did you send me to your friend's Idle Protein Clinic, and why not down the hall? It's in your office. And he said, I just knew that wasn't going to be the answer for you and what we needed. You needed Ideal Protein. He's like, I hoped when I give you the card to the gastric bypass, you wouldn't pick it, but I had to give you 2 options.
Yep. Ah, so cool. So you started Ideal Protein, and how did it go? It was smooth sailing and you went straight down, right? It was just boop, 0 to 340.
It's a journey is just that. It's a journey, y'all. That's all I'm going to say. It is a transformation journey. You go through high highs, really low lows. And sometimes you learn that you have to advocate for yourself, even in opportunities where you thought you had somebody that was in your corner pocket for you. And I'm saying that my family's going to hate me, but I'm going to call them all out.
No, here we go. I knew this was going to be good.
Yes. So even, my immediate family, because when you use the word diet, it puts a different negative connotation in the brain.
Yep, absolutely. And
they don't mean to be haters, but it happens that way. Because what you're feeling is like, I'm changing my life. I'm doing stuff. I'm healthier. But they hear diet. So they hear you're going to do this for a couple of days and be done. And that's the way my family treated it, was like, what do you mean you're not making Christmas cookies this year? What do you mean you're not going to make mashed potatoes? You're going to make them. You're just not going to eat them. And I'm sassy, and my family can attest to this. I said, I'm not making anything that I'm not eating. So if y'all want to learn how to cook, be my guest.
So they're panicking now, full out panic.
Well, right. They're like, oh my God, big sis is like putting the hammer down. So they are, but what they did realize was no matter what obstacle came to me, like we went out to dinner, I didn't get negative about it. I just figured out a way to enjoy myself. Even in my little hometown, we have one Mexican restaurant, and my family wanted to go, and they all ate all kinds of random things. And I just ordered fajita meat and lettuce and the vegetables we could have. And I didn't complain, nothing.
Right.
And as they saw that I was not like in this torturous jail cell and just miserating, I call it purgatory, right? Like you're not in purgatory, just hanging out, like waiting to the end. They were like, okay. So then it became a game of what can we taunt her with to get her to react? And they would say, do you want this? And I'm like, no. Do you want this? No.
That's so cool. That is just so awesome. No, and it's true, right? You get clients that come in and they say, oh yeah, I was out with friends or out with family and we were at this Mexican restaurant. So yes, of course I had tortilla chips and that led to this and that. But you wonder, right? You wonder if they were at the table going, oh God, I wish I could have some of that, right? And that's what the rest of them are looking for. Aha, we got her, right? We're gonna reel her back in, because when you say I'm on a diet, and again, the mindset might be, I'm improving my life, I'm excited about this, what have you. What other people might hear is, oh, she's trying to do something healthy for herself. And then she's going to make me feel guilty for not doing it too, right? And whether you even say anything like that, they're automatically operating from their point of view, which is guilt. And
exactly.
So a lot of people, like you said, make it a game, whether it's conscious or subconscious. It's not always conscious, but whether it's conscious or subconscious, they want to see you slip up. They want to see you go off oh, see, I knew she couldn't do it. Oh, that's okay. I feel better about myself. Right.
That's what it comes down to. They're projecting because they obviously don't feel comfortable in their own skin. I'm not going to lie. The friends that I had pre-Ido protein are not the same friends I have post-Ido protein, except for a few of them, because I was the token fat friend that made them feel better about themselves because I was bigger. And actually, when you start to change your life and you get healthy and they see you in a different light, they start to treat you differently, and they get real comfortable in saying things like, they're a little bit sabotaging. I had one of my friends say, well, I guess now I'm the fat friend since you've lost so much weight.
Wow.
I'm like,
wow.
Oh. I'm like, okay, that's how that works. But you know what? Your circle of influence is just that. You keep the people around you that are going to build you up. And sometimes when you're in a journey like this, you find out who your true circle of influence is, and it surprises you. I would say probably the biggest piece of advice, just coming from my own journey, is I would have been a lot more vocal about when I started and what I was doing, and it not being a diet. If I could go back to 2012 and re-educate the people that I worked with, the people in my circle of friends, and my family, I think it would have been a much different transitional period. But I'm like everybody else. I was embarrassed that I needed to lose that much weight, and I wanted to keep it to myself because I thought if I got myself here, I need to get myself out. Whenever it's not just a yourself issue, it's really familial. It's everybody that's around you on a regular basis.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I think that brings up another great teaching point, coaching point for everybody. We harp on the idea and the wording of protocol, but it's so extremely valuable, right? If you had said, hey, I'm on this medical protocol and, it's very restricted eating, so I'm not allowed to have that, or that. But, again, my doctor prescribed it. I'm doing it for the health of it. That disarms I think, a lot of this stuff. So if you lead with that, again, if somebody else said, I'm on this medical protocol because I've got diabetes and literally my doctor did tell me to restrict my carbs, people would be sensitive to that and they wouldn't try. Mm-hmm. Oh, you can have one donut, can't you? No, right? I mean, and so if you say, and I always try to coach our people that way, it's like, tell them that you are on a medical protocol. I would even say, oh, I wish I could have that, but man, I'm on this medical protocol. I haven't felt this good in forever. I'm finding out my body's intolerant to that stuff. And so, the more I keep that out, the better I'm feeling. And again, that kind of takes a lot of the guilt and shame of she's trying to look good, she's trying to look better than you, out of the whole thing, right? And if you are, I also find that if you are kind of upfront with people, because they might actually be interested in what you're doing and they might not want to admit to that, but they could also then go home and look it up and maybe later on, one-on-one say, hey, Sarah, you know what? Everybody was kind of making fun of you, but I'm really interested in what you're doing because, man, I can see changes already, right?
And that happened to me. It really did. 2 of my really good friends, actually 3 of my really good friends got started after a night out with friends. And I didn't have the cake. I didn't have the appetizer. I didn't do that. I just always say, I got to the point where I was okay and comfortable in my skin. And anyone that knows me outside of this podcast and real life knows I'm kind of a goofball. And I just said, look, I eat weird. And so if you got a problem with me telling the server how I want my food, I can't come tonight. And they were like, that's fine. I don't know why you're making a deal about it. And so I'm like, I'm going to be like, I order weird. And even at a restaurant, and you guys can take this pro tip if you want, because it works every time. I tell the waiter, I'm like, I'm going to be a pain in the butt. So you might as well just get your pad out and I'm going to tell you exactly what I want. And I'm dairy intolerant. I can't have any breading. I can't have butter, any of those things. Right. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get their pen, and they start writing down. And I'm like, okay, we're good.
Yeah. Well, I think your personality, you probably pull it off really well. Not everybody can pull that line off. I'm going to be a pain in your butt. But and you and I talked about this pre-show. My sister, a few years ago, when I was at my worst, when I was at my heaviest, she did some kind of a diet, and lo and behold, man, she did fantastic. She was looking fantastic. Wouldn't tell us what it was though. And Christmas came around, and I got to tell you, subconsciously, I gave her the hardest time. I literally was everybody that I hate now as a coach and a doctor, who was trying to peer pressure her into breaking her diet into, what do you mean you can't have one glass of wine? We always have, you always have a glass of wine. It's Christmas Day, for crying out loud. This is ridiculous. And I had a coaching moment about a year into coaching where somebody basically came back with a similar story, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, holy crap. Oh my God, I did that to my sister. I've got to apologize to her for that. And I did. And it struck me that as much as I was coming down on these other people, it may be subconscious or it might be conscious that they're trying to do this. So you got to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt.
It's both for sure. I mean, you have a very valid point. Some people know exactly what they're doing, and others have like no idea, literally, they're doing it. And if you were to bring it up to them, they're like, I did not mean to do that. That's not what I was trying to do.
Right. So, again, I'm going to throw up another picture because your pictures are so awesome. Let's throw this one up here, right? So this was taken. So set it up.
The picture of me in the black apron, that was literally my Christmas party the day before I started Ido Protein. I did not want to miss. I worked for a surgeon, and he screamed my name all day, all night for surgery stuff. He would be like, Sarah, get this, Sarah, get that. But he waited on me hand and foot that party. I was not missing that at all, ever. I got to scream his name, Dr. Finley. He knows who he is.
Get me this.
So I had my Christmas party. And then the very next day, it was December 13th, I got started on protocol. And I mean, I never looked back at all. The picture next to it, I'm down there, close to my goal down about, I think I was down 320 pounds in that picture. And I was doing coaching in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and multiple clinics. And I used to host these super Saturdays for some of the coaches that used to come shadow me in the DFW area. Remembers those? I would host a phase 1 seminar and then a reboot refresh seminar. And then we have a stabilization seminar and we have a cooking event. And I would be there for like 12 hours, but it was like pure awesomeness the entire day.
So it was literally like your own super weekend, right? That you hosted.
For patients. Yeah.
For patients. Oh my God. And Lynn Roos, are you listening to this? So Lynn and I, before pre-COVID, this is one of our ideas that we were actually going to hold like a super day for clients. And we were going to pitch it also to Ideal Protein Corporate and say, hey, the super weekends are so incredible for coaches and clinic owners. Can you imagine if we actually threw one corporate wide for clients? Because you would get the best access to all of this stuff. It'd be inspirational, motivational, and cooking. And God, that sounds amazing. So that just sets you up. That just set you up to be a CEM, right? So you're just kind of, yeah. You bring that same stuff now to your clinics. That's so cool. How large can your territory get? Oh,
I'm at max capacity. I have enough children. I love all my clinics. You know that.
And they love you. I'm telling you, my phone and my Facebook was blowing up all night last night. So yeah, we talked about this too, though, right? The journey is never straight. There's ups, there's downs, right? We may take a pause. Who was it? There's times to push and there's times to pause. I've heard that in the last, in the past 24 hours. And I thought that, your journey was not a straight line.
It's not by any means. I mean, I had to learn to deal with a lot of holidays that were there and a lot of life events. My grandmother died very soon into my journey, and she was my go-to person for everything. And because I grew up in the Midwest, my first thing was, I'm going to make food, right? And that's what we learn to do when someone passes away, is to eat the things that my grandma taught me to cook. So immediately I wanted to start doing the things that made me feel close to her, but I couldn't do that. So I had to figure out different ways of dealing with it, which was not easy. A lot of emotional part of it. And then I went to Puerto Rico I think I was 6 months into my journey for vacation. And my coach actually told me to cheat. And I was telling you this, I thought, okay, I can cheat. I can do this. And you get yourself all psyched up. And I'm sitting in front of this bowl of mofongo, which is, I mean, to die for. I had it before. I've been to Puerto Rico before. It's not a big deal. And I'm sitting there and I just start to bawl my eyes out because I don't want the mofongo. The mofongo is not as important to me as I thought it was to have. Like, it doesn't make the Puerto Rico trip. It doesn't make the vacation time. It doesn't make anything. There's no emotion attached to it. And that was kind of my turning point in my own journey of like when I felt empowered. And I'm not going to lie to you. I left the restaurant. I didn't tell Dr. Barnes.
Another gem.
I did not. I wanted my coach to know just how weird of a position she put me in, but also the breakthrough that I had. So I went and called her in the car and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you made me do this. I didn't eat it. So I won. You lost. But
this is a huge breakthrough though, right? A huge turning point.
Huge breakthrough. So from that point on, it was like I knew in my heart of hearts that my food wasn't going to bring my grandmother back. My food wasn't going to make me happy. My food wasn't going to make me not mad at my surgeon that I worked for. Food didn't own me. I owned it, and it only gives me power to do the things I need to do in my everyday life. And so at the end of my journey, I used to live to eat Reese's peanut butter cups. Okay. I could eat a bag in a setting and whatever, no problem.
Yep. Right with you.
So, my first indulgence day, I thought, oh, I'm going to have a Reese's peanut butter cup. It's like this great thing. and I took a bite expecting this euphoric experience.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this tastes like crap. I'm like, I don't even want this thing.
To quote Reese's, sorry, not sorry.
So
I love it. I
I
love it.
I knew that at that point going forward, and this was huge for me because I had done tons of fad dieting in my life from the age of 10, that I actually was going to be successful at this point.
Yeah.
And while the number of weight that I've lost is super amazing, what I find the most validity on, and what I spend a lot of time talking about when I educate clinics and patients that are currently in clinics or prospective patients, okay, that are coming to our intro seminars we do on Zoom, I tell them the bigger part of this is I've maintained this weight loss, the whole 340 pounds, for 4 years. In my entire life, I have never been able to say that about anything.
Yeah.
I had lost weight, but I would gain twice as much back in a shorter period of time. And I know it's because of that pivotal turning point of when I figured out, and everybody has it, you just have to give it the respect it deserves. And some of us don't do that, is whenever you find out that, you know, food doesn't control me. I don't live to eat. I live to make choices of what I'm going to eat and how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
So.
No, huge. We got to reinforce that, right? The idea that, and I've been trying to flesh this out, and I'm sure that you can help me with this at some point. You know, we talk about a right relationship with food, right? And I'm trying to flesh out a really great model for what that looks like. And, you know, the bottom line is food is not your best friend. Food is not your lover. Food is not going to make your grandmother come back. Food is not going to, you know, all those things, right? And the moment that you realized you didn't need it for those other reasons, that's and you say everybody comes to that. I'll say some take longer than others, and it took me a couple years into maintenance really to come to that. But boy, when you come to that, that is life changing.
You know, I think people have the small moments of clarity, but in our busy lifestyles, and I say this from a place because I think I'd had it before then, I just didn't give it the validity that it needed. I really do think I had experienced it much earlier on, but I didn't showcase it, and I didn't celebrate it like I own food, it doesn't own me. And that's what I did that day. It was like that moment of like pure, everybody likes to win. And I won. That was like, I won. Yes.
That's so awesome. Yeah. And, you know, you also kind of talk about one of your things, you know, your goal is your goal, right? It's not anybody else's goal. And at some point, you also get the itch to say, I wonder how healthy I really can get.
That was really what happened to me. I mean, the doctor told me to lose 150 pounds. And at that point, we reconvened and talked, and I said, you know, I really just want to see where I can take this. I'm in a good role. I'm not ready to go into maintenance like you wanted me to. Can I just have a little more time to see where I can go with this? And he goes, yeah, that's totally fine. And, you know, let's all be honest, as a woman, at one point or another, it becomes about vanity as well, because I liked the way I looked in clothes. I could buy, you know, I was in a 5X scrubs, and my doctor bought me mediums. And I was like, ooh, I have a figure now in scrubs, which you don't normally have when you're in scrubs.
Right.
I went down 4 shoe sizes because I didn't realize your feet get fat, but they do.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Right. When I had to get my wife was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, my shoes don't fit it. I walked out of my shoes the other day.
Or, you know, the funny thing is just being able to go into a store that's not a specialty store.
Yeah. Right.
And being able to get something off the rack. I like that. And it became about, okay, how healthy can I get? Where do I need to get my body fat? Where do I need to do this? How well can my blood results look? And I kind of got obsessed with that more so than a number. And truth be told, I never hit my number that I thought was the magic number, because it was just that. It was just a number. It has no real validity. I made it about other things. And I think that's really the point is, like, you got to find out what your initial emergency is. Mine was I needed to lose that weight. But then as I was going through it, I mean, it does come about vanity. You see a whole different side of you that you've never seen before, and other people are seeing it. You feel better about yourself. And
Yep.
it's okay to be happy about what you see in the vanity part.
Yep.
It's okay. Celebrate it. You worked hard for it. And if that's going to be the driving force for the last 20 pounds or 40 pounds, so be it. Use it to your advantage.
Yeah, no. And, Dean Kilby and I talked about this a little bit on his show. The spillover effect from that, you just cannot discredit the spillover effect on your confidence when you feel like you look good and you can present yourself well. And, what does that do in the workplace? What does that do if you're going out for a job interview, right? What's it like to interview in the before picture versus interviewing in the after picture? And what job would you go for that you never thought you could get in the first place? Right?
So I actually have a story about that I can tell pretty quick.
Here we go. Another one. You don't have to be quick. We got to spend a lot of time with you.
So whenever I was a chemical engineer for a while, and then
again, mind blowing. Chemical engineer from the Midwest.
Yes.
The world's most interesting woman. I'm telling you guys.
I decided to go back to school for dental assisting. I had no idea I'd ever be an assistant. I just wanted to work in the management part and do that aspect of it. I met a doctor and I did my clinicals with him. He really liked me, but he wasn't hiring at the time. So I started to put myself out there. I thought, I'm a chemical engineer. I'm super overqualified to be an assistant. They'll hire me no matter what. So I had quite a few job interviews, and one of them I was with an orthodontist, and I phone interviewed, and I thought, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is my home. I got this.
Yeah.
And he had me come in for a face-to-face interview. He straight fell off the face of the earth after he met me. Like, would not return phone calls, emails, nothing. And I finally decided I need to figure out what happened, because I don't understand. Like, he knew I didn't have any experience, any of that. And so I just sent him an email and I said, look, I'm trying to grow from this experience. I'm switching career paths, and I just need to figure out what I said wrong in the interview. I'm not going to hold you accountable for anything. I'm not going to sue you. I'm not going to send you to the Board of Dentistry, Board of Labor. I just want to know what happened. And I will never forget the email response. I literally, my heart fell in my gut.
Yeah.
I opened it up and he said, Sarah, you're more than qualified for this position. You're just not the look I'm looking for my clinic.
Oh my God.
I thought literally I was going to be sick. And I thought, you mean to tell me, because I weigh 460 pounds, I am super overqualified for this position, that he is not going to hire me because of that? So long story short, I get the job with the doctor that I wanted to get the job with, that I had done my internship with.
It wasn't meant to be, so it worked itself out. Yep.
He hired me to be a surgical assistant. I had never worked in anyone's mouth in my life. I was scared to death. And he just liked the fact that I was an engineer. My brain worked like his as a surgeon. Yeah. And we did all kinds of stuff together. And then one day I noticed the doctor's name on the schedule coming for a joint surgery that had said what he said to me. No. And I was like, yes. And I was like, oh my God. So we're doing the surgery, and my surgeon says, man, he was sure quiet for that 4 hours. I don't know what's going on with him. So out of character. And I said, that's the guy, right? And he goes, that's him? And I said, yeah. And he goes, good. I got myself a diamond out of the deal, so I'm happy about that.
Oh my God. That is the best story ever.
Yes.
Truly. Oh, yep. And sometimes I just look up at God and I say, oh my God, you've got a sense of humor, right? How all that got arranged and put together for you. That's absolutely amazing.
I will tell you, that surgeon that I worked for in South Louisiana, I'll just say his name, Mickey Finley. Love him. Hope he gets to watch. I'm going to send it to him so he sees that I call him out.
There you go. Yep.
He was probably my number one supporter throughout my entire journey.
Yeah.
When you're an assistant for a doctor, you become like best friends. And every day he wanted to know what I was eating for lunch. Sometimes he would even eat my lunch. He would want Ido protein food too. Yeah. And I mean, he was like my biggest cheerleader. And I think without him, I may not have been as successful.
Oh, that's great.
I lost 220 pounds and then I moved to Dallas. And so
Wow.
he actually didn't get to see what I looked like in the end. He had watched my journey, watched my amazing transformation. So he'd seen
Yeah.
that. But there was a time period that I was helping some CEMs in Louisiana, and I bribed one of them to take me to where I used to work so that I could surprise the office.
Yeah.
And they
I was
all
gonna
were
hope.
like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Yes, here I
Oh,
am."
that's so cool. I was hoping
Yeah.
that you were going to say that.
Yes.
So
No, it was
I
good.
do. I want to roll back because you mentioned that too. I want to roll back to this very first graphic. And for those of you that don't know, Sara was chosen by Ideal Protein to be one of their amazing transformations. They did for a while. They spotlighted these people, and I've had Toonie on my show. Lynn Roos actually is one of my coaches on our team, and she was our amazing transformation from our clinic. I do want you to go ahead and Google Sara Mulero, Amazing Transformation, Ideal Protein, because those videos are up there. And so this is how I had first known of Sara. And I had the opportunity after Lynn premiered her video, I had the opportunity to travel to Dallas to a super weekend and surprise Lynn when she was talking about her amazing transformation experience with all the coaches and clinic owners that were in the room. It was an amazing experience. I had a few regrets from that weekend, though. For me, it was one of the most amazing weekends ever. But as part of it, I got on a plane. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. I got on a plane in Washington, D.C. I flew into Dallas so that I could surprise Lynn and she would have no idea that I was there. And after the seminar part was over, I got to go and meet everybody from Ideal Protein. Deb Buchanan down there took me and some of the special guests out to dinner. It was just an amazing time and meeting these amazing transformations. Dr. Paul was there, and Toonie Raffelli was going to premiere his amazing transformation video later the next day. So it gets to be about 1:30 or 2 a.m. in the morning, Dallas time, which is also different from Eastern time, and a couple of beers later, et cetera, and just being high. I literally sat down to catch my breath, and I plopped down in this chair, and I look over, and there's Sara. And I'm just like, "Hey." And she's like, "Hey." I'm like, "Oh, love your video." But literally, I didn't even get to know you or really meet you. And so again, you've always been on my list of guests that I've wanted to do this with. And truly, if it's just to meet you personally. So go watch Sara's amazing transformation. Did you have anything from that experience that you want to share with everybody? I bet it was so cool.
It was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, to be honest. Because, as humans, we don't share everything with everyone.
Yep.
We have a little box and we open the box and you get to see what's in the box, but everything else is secrets. And so the whole premise of these amazing transformations is to get the raw driving force. And, I'm not a person I'm emotional, but I don't cry often. I don't like to show weakness. That's just a Midwestern woman thing.
Yep.
People will feel me. But they really interrogated me. That's what I say to them. They didn't interrogate. They questioned and wanted to see my why. And I finally broke down and I cried. And that is rare for me in front of people. And it was really a raw experience. So I do these Zoom seminars for my region all the time. And every night that I do one, I show the video and I will tell you, it doesn't matter if it's been 4 years or 4 days. It's the same feeling I get every time that I watch it I cry. So I literally don't be on camera when I show it.
Yeah. No, Arnaud and company that were filming that, the film crew that came here, they definitely had a gift and they definitely were storytellers.
I loved it, but there's different parts of it that they didn't capture, and that's the ups and downs and the sabotage parts. And not everybody is your best friend when you're on your own journey, nor do they want to see you at your best. And also, sometimes you have to advocate for yourself, whether it's with your family, your friends, your own journey, whatever it may possibly be. Which, are you okay if I talk about Facebook groups?
Sure, you can do that.
So
I covered my wounds so that you can't see the bleeding from earlier today, but sure.
So, as a CEM, I feel like all of my clinic partners and coaches are my kids. And so I'm very protected mama. Okay. And in these phase 1 supporter groups, there's a lot of good information, but there's also a lot of really bad information. And you have all these great coaches just trying to do the right thing for these people and give them advice. And then you get these monstrous, evil people that are like going after you. And one of the things that I always teach, especially a brand new clinic or brand new coach as we're going through our training, is you are the head point for your patient. As a doctor, as a pharmacist, as a chiropractor, as whatever you are the point of contact for your patient. And they need to know that, because you're the knower of all things. And if you don't know, you have the numbers to reach out to get the answers that you need. And it kind of breaks my heart to see these people that really don't have that support system always reach out on Facebook and get all this really terrible advice.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you get attacked on there. I've been attacked on Facebook.
Yeah, well, and like you said, though, right? It's a situation of being a protocol and pretty much being a black and white protocol. It's not a situation where you should really reach out and get answers from other dieters or other clients, patients, because they just, they might not understand that fully either. And, you know what? And as a coach, as a clinic owner, and as a host of a podcast, it really does. When you see somebody who's asked just a truly innocent question, get the wrong information. I kind of feel like it's a responsibility. That's why we belong to those groups too. It's a responsibility to give the right information, and that's why we're on there. And you have to understand that if the advice comes from a clinic or a coach, and you know what? Yes, some coaches and some clinics might not have all the details correct either, right? And if as a coach or as a clinic owner, if I get different information from the way we've been coaching or teaching something, I go straight to science. Or hey, Mike CL, what about this? Or hey, Deirdre, what's the protocol as far as this goes? Am I doing this wrong? Because truly, all we're looking for is for our clients and our patients to have the best ideal protein experience, and to have that across the board, from clinic to clinic to clinic to coach to coach to coach.
My favorite thing that came out of 2019 and 2020, okay, let's just talk about 2020 for a hot second, is that the shift with the new protocol. And then as for me, as a corporate employee, being able to be a part of really standardizing the educational piece for coaches, clinic owners, doctors, pharmacists, patients. Yeah. Because if we're all doing the same thing and have all the same information, life is so much better.
Right. Yep.
So much better. So I'm happy that's my positive thing that came out of 2020, is being able to be a part of this standardization and this growth forward with idle protein. Yeah.
No. And they're doing so great with that. We can't say enough about all their efforts and the training that we're getting, and you have to take advantage of it. Right.
Yeah.
But okay, let's move on. Is there anything else that you want to cover? Any other topics you want to cover?
Well, I can kind of talk about the future of idle protein. That's important to me.
Right.
I'm an idle protein employee, so that's super important to me.
It is. Well, it's super important to me too. I was not yet. Okay, we've got some more. Okay. Phew, I was just going to say the turkeys are getting restless, but I want to hear your input on the future of ideal protein. What's going on?
For the first time in a long time, okay, and all my clinics that are watching this will know, I am super excited for what the future holds. I feel like even during this pandemic, we have made such a stronghold in how we're doing things, how we're helping people to get healthy, especially during this pandemic, has been monumental. we haven't had this much exciting stuff happen in a short period of time ever. Yep. I've been a patient since 2012, and I can tell you, we have never released this many new products in 1 year, ever.
Crazy.
And they're good. They're all
absolutely
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is just literally just the start of something amazing, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. So everybody should be pumped to be part of Vital Protein, whether you're a coach, a clinic owner, a patient. Like, you are in a huge movement, whether you realize it or not, and we're moving fast, y'all, fast.
Yeah, there's never been a more important time to be a part of this. Like you said, whether it is from clinic owners and coaches to clients, the world that we live in today has really spotlighted the problem of obesity and metabolic health and how that spills over into every aspect of our lives. And no program stands poised, ready to change your metabolic health from the inside out. Like I said, the power of this protocol is more what it does for us on the inside, as well as burn fat, spare muscle, and do everything that this protocol does. So this is the time. The time is now, and Ideal Protein is doing everything it can to step into that leadership role. I mentioned the super weekend that I met you in Dallas. But we can't do them right now. And people in our company are just dying for that. They were so great to get together. When you have this many people getting together that have the same heart and the same desire to transform lives and have had their lives the passion that happens in those things are so tremendous. And so they did a virtual super day for us yesterday. And I got to tell you, I loved it.
I can't wait until the recording video of Dr. Cial comes out singing. That was my favorite. I am going to share that everywhere. So just be prepared.
Mikey did not disappoint. I absolutely loved that. Even I was in another Facebook group, and even down to the music, I was doing a bunch of stuff, and I was like, oh crap, I got to get on. And so I got on in the waiting area before it was starting, and they were playing the music. And I was just like, man, that even just brought me back to the excitement of getting there, finding your spot, making sure you got enough coffee and paper and pencil so you can take the notes. And I had that same excitement. And then they brought that back on at the intermission. I was like, oh my God, I got to go to the bathroom. I got to get my lunch, and I got to get back here before Deirdre gets on. I don't want to. And it was even down to those kind of details. It was awesome.
It was good. It was very good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we did bill this as being the Thanksgiving episode of the Life Possible podcast. So let's see if we can shift our discussions. Where was I going with that? Oh, here we go. I don't want to crash the ship here. Oh, turkeys are taking over. All right. Look, there she is. So, that picture there is literally phase 1 Thanksgiving, yeah?
This was literally a Thanksgiving at my house, and this was 100% phase 1 for the entire family. I had air-fried turkey, mashed rutabaga, stuffing, because I'm from Missouri, and you would not have Thanksgiving without some stuffing. We'll talk about that 100%. Green bean casserole, broccoli cheese casserole, and even potato rolls. So, we had everything. Yeah. And I'm not going to ruin the surprise. We even had dessert, 2 types of dessert. So.
All right. Sounds great. So, yes, you said it. The number one request that we get during this time is, and number one concern is, well, first off, I do want to make this announcement, right? We're going to talk about, I think, 5 different recipes, and we're going to show you the ingredients that are in those recipes here on the podcast. Sara made available to me her actual recipes, how to put it all together and all that stuff. I've got them in PDF documents. And I think the quickest and easiest way to get this to any listeners that would like to have these recipes, drop me an email at lifepossiblepodcast@gmail.com and put Thanksgiving recipes or recipes in the subject line. and I will go ahead and send you back an email that's got them attached. I couldn't figure out, and we're under the gun here, so I couldn't figure out how to really post these things on Facebook. So please go ahead and reach out to me. We will get those to you as fast, as timely as possible. And, like I was just going to say, the number one request that we get is, Doc, what am I going to do about stuffing though? And since stuffing has never been a thing for me and I don't understand the whole thing, I'm just like, yeah, I think you can do without. However, you've got a dynamite stuffing recipe. Yeah.
Yes, and I can't believe you don't like stuffing. That's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah, no thanks.
Oh my gosh.
Picky eater.
Y'all, he's not human. I don't know how I feel now. So I grew up baking and making breads and candies and cookies and all these things. So my one life goal was to take all the high protein food and turn it into carbs.
Right.
That is how this bread recipe came about. Because I had tried, there was some old recipes out there for like Southwest cheese curls and celery, and that sounded god awful disgusting. I tried it; it was god awful disgusting.
Not a combination that you would think.
No. So I got to playing with the soups. I'm not a big soup fan, but I thought if I mixed it with something that had a flour base, I can turn the crispy cereal into a powder. Mix the mushroom soup with it, and really, it's as easy as it sounds. Baking powder, eggs, and cold water. Yep. And that literally makes you a beautiful little loaf of bread. And you do the same thing with the chicken soup. And I know chicken soup is discontinued, but you can use the chicken noodle soup, and you can just grind up the noodles in your food processor. Or I have been playing with recently, which is also really yummy, the new French onion soup.
The new French onions, yes.
It's very delicious.
It's awesome.
You really can make the bread, and then you could also, if you didn't want to do stuffing, like Dr. Barnes is not a stuffing fan, you could do croutons with it because see?
Nice.
You just cube it up, and then you make it like you would stovetop stuffing on the oven, and it's really simple. It takes me about 20 minutes start to finish to do it. It's really quick.
Wow. That's awesome. So yeah, it's kind of a two-part process. You make the bread, and then you incorporate it into the stuffing recipe, and you've got that all laid out on the handouts that we've got.
And the reason why I have the chicken soup and the mushroom soup, you don't have to do both of them. It's just my family usually does a mixture of cornbread and wheat stuffing. So the chicken soup makes like a cornbread texture, and the mushroom soup makes more of a wheat texture. So truth be told, you don't have to do both loaves. If you just want to do the mushroom soup and be a wheat texture, go for it.
There you go.
If you're gluten-free, I forgot to tell you guys this, you can use either of the oatmeals in place of the crispy cereal and get you the same bread. It's a little bit sweeter, so it's more like an apple sage stuffing versus just straight sage.
Oh, an apple sage stuffing.
It's very good. Both of them are very good.
Excellent. All right. So there's your stuffing for those that like stuffing. How about, the picture, I was telling you earlier, the picture on the slide just makes me want to dive in and eat the broccoli cheese casserole.
This is a huge hit in my family. We always ate this at every family gathering. My Aunt Cheryl always made it. So I thought I can make this. We have broccoli rice. We have cauliflower rice. And so I just mixed the two. And then really just one idle protein cheese soup mix. And you just don't add as much water as what you normally would to make the soup. So it's kind of pasty. And then you kind of just smooth it out so it gets that nice, beautiful, crunchy crust on top, which is my favorite.
Yeah. The picture really captures that. No, seriously.
It's very simplistic. I'm a very lazy cook, in case you guys didn't notice that.
I highly doubt that. No, and that's one of the few vegetables that you'd find on my plate would be the broccoli cheese casserole at our Thanksgivings, because there's cheese in it, right? I mean, I can eat broccoli if it's smothered in cheese. So that looks absolutely appetizing. All right, next, another flavor that lots of people have on their Thanksgiving table. Cranberry salad.
This one's weird for me because, like, you not liking stuffing, I'm not a cranberry preserves person or cranberry period. And back in the day when I was coaching, I had a patient say, my mom makes this cranberry salad and I'm going to be miserable without it.
Yep.
So she gave me her family recipe, and I created this from that. They usually had fruit in it, so that's why I have the chayote squash and the frozen rhubarb to give like the chunks of cranberry and strawberry that her family utilized in there. The Walden Farms cranberry sauce, you probably would need to order it. Most grocery stores don't carry it, but that gives it that.
It does, and if your clinic carries it, you might have quick access. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. So you use that to give it that cranberry texture. And then the isoprotein raspberry gelatin, which is it's one of my favorite products. It creates the texture of that jelly that you're missing.
Really? There's Jell-O? Oh, we're not going to open that can of worms. All right.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. And I will tell you too, right? I'm not the cranberry guy either. And we had this at our table. My family is laughing because they're some of the only people on the planet that listen to all these shows. But Lynn Roos, I tell you, she makes this rhubarb compote, and she brought some in a couple weeks ago, and she's like, "Here, Dr. Barnes, have a taste of this." And I normally wouldn't be the guy that jumps on that, but I had to do it because it was Lynn. Oh my God, rhubarb! Who knew?
Delicious. It is so good, so good.
Yeah, no, I'd give that a shot. I think that's fantastic. All right, let's stick with the side dishes. Green bean casserole, right?
Again, family favorite. I have doctored it a little bit this year because somebody in Nebraska they wanted the crunchy. So I'll tell you what I did after I explained the recipe. So really and truthfully, you can use any kind of green beans. My family's always used French style because we're fancy like that. No, I'm kidding. It's just more of that nice texture. They're softer. And then the mushroom soup, you just mix it up like the directions say. I always tell people, make it to whatever texture you like your soup. I like a thicker soup when I'm cooking. And so that's where I put the tablespoon of 2% milk, or you can use half and half now that it's protocol, to make it creamier like your cream of mushroom soup. Cut up some mushrooms. They could be white mushrooms. I prefer portobello myself.
Okay. Put
them in there. Mix it. Literally all you're doing is throwing stuff together and mixing it, and then bake it. And it's so good. So in this picture, I just did green onions on top. But in Nebraska, I had at a clinic, Redline Pharmacy, one of the employees, grandpa said, "Where's the crunchy stuff on top of it?"
Yeah, there's got to be crunchy stuff.
So we did some of the garlic and herb chips, and I used my teaspoon of olive oil on them, roughly crunched up, spread them on top of it towards the end of the cooking cycle in the air fryer, and they got nice and crunchy. So it was not French as onions, but it was darn close.
No, right. That's exactly it. Because the crunchy part is, that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. All right. Next up, what do you think is next? Oh, here it is. Dessert. There's no way you can make pumpkin pie and stay phase one.
So I have to give credit to a coach out in Southern Pharmacy, Jessica Robinson. She begged me to make pumpkin pie. I personally not like the biggest pumpkin pie fan, but I'll eat it if it's there.
Shocker.
But one of the things that I did was learn how to make a pie crust. And this isn't really a rendition of it. Now I can kind of cook it on the fly and do kind of whatever with it. But if you like a more thick pie crust, do the pancake in the apple or maple oatmeal to give you that true crusty flavoring. And you can put cinnamon in to make it real fancy if you want to. It's really just an egg white and some water. And then you just kind of paint it up the sides of your pie pan. And then the inside, you can do, like I have here, the vanilla pudding mix with an egg yolk and then pumpkin pie spice to taste. That was before we had a pumpkin spice latte drink mix, which is OMG, my faves. So yes. So this picture is actually from this year at Redline Pharmacy. And we decided that I was going to use a packet of vanilla pudding mix and a packet of PSL, pumpkin spice latte. And then I did an egg yolk and I turned it into a custard very easily, just like it says on the instructions, a little bit of water and egg yolk. And then you just pour it into your pie crust and you bake it. And the little pie was my ending result. It made 4 little pies like that.
And
very good.
And I love how tall, like it really puffed up. That looks so appetizing.
The pudding made it really puff up, which is why I like the pudding as the inciting. But that pumpkin spice latte in a very small amount that we used it in, not like in a drink, the concentrated flavor of that tastes just like pumpkin pie. It's so good.
That's great. So there it is, phase 1 pumpkin pie, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so we're going to do this one too. Uh-oh. The turkeys saw it. You didn't keep them in the back room. I told you. All right. So now the turkeys are out of the studio. We can talk about fried turkey.
So I told y'all I grew up in Missouri. So
I love how
eating fried turkey.
Out, right? The y'all comes out when
I work in the Midwest. So actually in Missouri we say yuns, and I can't do that. I need to keep it to y'all.
My dad's from Missouri. My dad was from Kansas City, right?
Gosh. Okay.
But he doesn't say yins. Yeah. There's no yins.
I'm from South Missouri, about 2 hours, like an hour and a half north of Arkansas. So the yuns and the yuns comes out when I go home, and it takes about a week to reel it in. So I say with y'all, that's the easier one. So I love fried turkey, and whenever air fryers became like a normal item to have, I thought, oh my gosh, you can get that crunchy texture on the outside of the turkey without having the skin, and it'll have so much flavor and it'll be so moist, just like what you do when you deep fry a turkey. Yeah. So for those people that have Aldi around them, I almost said Aldi's, that would really show how Missouri I am. There's no S on that word. So at Aldi, they have a little turkey breast, and that's all it is. And it comes with the skin on it. You just and that's not attached. It comes with it in case you want to cook with it. I tear it off, throw it in the trash. And then you just do the herbs like what I have on here, thyme, salt and pepper, onion powder, or whatever you want, and then throw it in the air fryer. You don't even have to have the grapeseed oil. Like, you don't even have to have oil, but it is so good. So good.
Really? If it doesn't have skin on it.
Nope. 90% of the time when I cook with an air fryer, I forget the oil. Like, hands down, I am the person, when I'm in phase 1, I'm drinking my oil at the end of the night in teaspoons.
Yeah, I've got some clients that are Greek, and literally she's like, oh, doc, I take a couple shots of olive oil, every day. And it's so funny because I've been telling people, oh, who would drink? I don't, you use it as a salad dressing or something, but no, it's a thing.
Well, I only do it because it's like the end of the night and I'm like going through my journal and dang, I forgot to put my oil. Because I didn't use it, because in an air fryer, I mean, you don't need fat to get it to be crunchy, whether it's a vegetable or it's protein.
I thought that. So I'll confess that the one thing that I cook, we've got an Instant Pot, and I cook hard-boiled eggs in it, and that's the only thing I use it for. And we've got an air fryer, and the only reason I bought it is for chicken wings.
Really?
Now, I thought that the chicken wings were so awesome, and we got them crispy because they had their own fat. And so anything that didn't have the skin on it, like a turkey breast or what have you, you'd have to use the oil in order to get that crispiness. But that's not the case.
No, you have to think, and this is like going into my nerd brain, is what we're eating is the muscle part of the animal, and there's fat and muscle. And so even if there's not skin on it, there's still fat content. That's why we gotta, we have to keep you in the guidelines of 4 to 6 ounces, because there is fat tissue in that muscle. That's not like, you can't take it off. So just that little bit of fat that's in there is enough to make something extremely moist and crunchy.
There you go. Well, especially if it was a keto fat adapted turkey, we know that there are droplets of fat in the muscles that. Okay, I'll stop. All right. Enough of it. No more, I promise. No, that's fascinating, and I'm going to go ahead and do that because it looks so awesome. So there it is, and I will say again, if you want these recipes, we've got them. I've got them in handout form, and you can go ahead and email us at lifepossiblepodcast@gmail.com. I'll go ahead and send those out. I've got Sarah's cell phone numbers on the back of there, just in case you need to call her for any tips. If you get stuck in the kitchen cooking or anything, I'm sure she'd be glad to help y'all.
Seriously though, if you have a question about a recipe, I do have a recipe page. If you search my name, you can message me through that page. I might be a little slow to answer because I typically don't answer until the night, but I can answer you.
A lot of stuff going on. Yep. Oh, fantastic. I think this was a hit. I think that the first annual Thanksgiving show went off really well. What do you think?
I think it was fantastic, and hopefully maybe next time I can cook. This is just a little bit different situation, but I love to do a little bit cooking on camera anyway and in front of people, so no big deal.
So cool. That would be really, really awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with me today and for sharing everything that you did with our viewers and our listeners. Like you said, I think you've been holding some stuff back, and you might have let some stories out today that you've never let out before. And I appreciate your authenticity. But I know there's more in there.
Oh, there's tons more. Brain, I tell everybody in seminars, the brain is the scariest organ you have in your body.
And some brains more than others. So I hope that I'll get another opportunity, not even in a Thanksgiving episode, to interview you further. I'm dreaming up ideas for future podcasts. I'd love to get a couple of us on together, a couple coaches and a couple people that I know that will bring some life to the party, if you will. And I hope to get to do that in the future. Thank you. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And any final parting words?
Just know that this Thanksgiving, the food doesn't control you or your emotions. It's who you're with and what's going on, and not about the food. So don't let the food hold the power over you. Be powerful. That's what it comes down to.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Great message, Sarah. All right. I'm going to take you out, but don't go anywhere. We need the recap. And I'll talk to you later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking around with us. I hope that you got so much from this. I hope you listened to it more than once because, again, Sarah shared so much. Share this with family, friends, and anybody that you think might be touched by some of the thoughts that she shared. Use the recipes and please, like I said, send us an email. Like us, subscribe to us, share us. We are on Facebook and YouTube, the video versions of the show. The audio versions are on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you might find podcasts to listen to them. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to break for Thanksgiving. And then I also am going to pursue some Life Possible myself the week afterwards, hopefully. But I'll bring you a show then in early December will be our next show. And the guest will be a surprise. So until then, keep living life possible.